Today, we're going to switch up the conversation away from the alternate art cards of the Sword and Shield era and move it to the illustration rares, special illustration rares, etc. of the Scarlet and Violet era. Obviously, alternate arts get a lot of love, and rightfully so. They're beautiful pieces, their values are skyrocketing, and who knows what the future will hold for them. But for illustration rares and special illustration rares for the Scarlet and Violet era, that's something I want to take a look at today because I think they're a little underrated and a little slept on. So let's go ahead and take a look at the 20 most valuable cards, mainly cards, but it mostly comprises of illustration rares and special illustration rares from the Scarlet and Violet era. Let's go ahead and take a look at that list right now. So we're going to start off the list at number 20. So the least most valuable card on this list, but the 20th most valuable card for the Scarlet and Violet era, if that makes sense. And I'm not gonna lie, I think the top or the bottom like 15 or 16 cards for this list, so what we're taking a look at now, those are all fluctuating and within dollars and cents from each other. So by the time this video is out, a lot of these cards could have easily swapped places. So but yeah, I mean, for the most part, these are the top 20 cards. So starting off, we have the Zapdos EX Special Illustration Rare card from Scarlet and Violet 151. Beautiful artwork. You have a wonderful blue background. Then you have the three legendary birds, Zapdos, Articuno, Moltres. It almost is like a like a feature of all three, but it kind of just puts the emphasis on Zapdos here. But it's a really amazing artwork. I'd love to pull this card. 1 year ago, or technically less than a year ago, but when we first had data for this card, $50.21, and yeah, ever since then, ultimately trended downwards, which does make sense as this is likely around pre-release. And yeah, right now it's sitting at $36.31, which is definitely not bad. It has come down quite a bit. Its low was over here on April 22nd, $31.71. Then for number 19, we have Gouging Fire EX, the special illustration rare card from Temporal Forces. This is obviously the Paradox version of Entei here. One of the least butchered legendary dogs, in my opinion, if you were to ask me. They actually, I think, did Entei right here. It does look pretty cool. Yeah, he's in the forest. It kind of reminisces a lot of the SIR from Scarlet and Violet base for the Koraidon, I believe. Just with that jungle setting, it is very similar. But yeah, so here, March 9th is as early as we have data for, $48.89. Then it dropped down March 21st, $39.39, and it looks like its high was April 2nd, $54.72, and it's currently sitting at $40.39. It looks like it might be slowly heading upwards. Then the next card we're looking into is the Altaria EX from Paradox Rift. This is the special illustration rare card. And to be completely honest with you, I almost didn't even know this card existed. Around the time Paradox Rift came out, I was taking a little bit of a hiatus from collecting and the hobby. And yeah, I knew about obviously the big cards from Paradox Rift, but I had no idea about this Altaria card. It's a very beautiful card. Get that aerial view similar to the Aerodactyl from what's it called, Lost Origin, as well as the Zapdos we just took a look at. You know, you have your beautiful landscape, and then you have Altaria with your Wingles underneath. So as far back as we have data for, we have October 16th, $29.99. Looks like it's low, March 18th, $19.41. Does shoot up to its high around here, $42.17, and that's where it looks like it's staying at today. It looks like it might stagnate, potentially even drop, or it even could go up, but time will only tell. Then we have the Iron Leaves EX from Temporal Forces. This is yet another special illustration rare card. This is the Paradox version of Virizion, I believe is how it's pronounced. But yeah, really nice artwork. Really great use of colors, in my opinion, just with the purples and the greens and the blues. The way the artwork is displayed here is fantastic. I would love to pull this card. March 9th, value of $90. I believe that's pre-release, and then does drop down March 21st, $59.09. Ultimately trends downwards. It looks like its low is probably around here, $37.20. And it looks like it's starting to pick back up a little bit at $40.73. Then moving on, we have the Venusaur EX Special Illustration Rare card from Scarlet and Violet 151. So Definitely an amazing card. We have Venusaur here hanging out in the bunch of jungle kind of vibe, some flowers, some shrubbery, trees. It is really amazing. He almost blends into the background. Fantastic artwork. So September 11th, as early as we've data for, $39.06, and this is one of the few cards where it actually trends upwards after pre-release / release. $47.10 seems to be its most valuable price range over the course of the last couple months, and then right now sitting at $43.04. Its lows relatively recently, April 22nd, $35.85, but yeah, its current price is $43.04, and I think there's a 151 reprint coming, or it has come or something, which I think will affect the prices. But if not, and maybe in the far future, this card will most likely go up in value. Alright, coming up next, we have the Tyranitar illustration rare from Paldea Evolved. This is the first regular illustration rare. So far, it's just been SIR. So we have here Tyranitar looking like Godzilla here in the rocky landscape. We have all these Star Raptors flying over it. It's some really great artwork. The lighting and the colors is fantastic. So 1 year ago, value of $25.79. Whoops, there we go, $25.79. Looks like its low was probably over here, January 22nd, $16.40, and its high was $45.62. Its current value is $44.07. I don't know particularly the pull rates for this card. I'm under the impression that IRs are a little easier to pull than SIRs, but that may not necessarily be the case. If it is, that will impact this card's overall value, but if not, I can see this card going up slowly but steadily over the next couple of months to the year. Alright, number 14 on this list is the Blastoise EX Special Illustration Rare card from Scarlet and Violet 151. I would love to pull this card as well. You have Blastoise here hanging out underwater in what looks like to be a deep kind of canyon or crevice or something of the sorts. It's a really nice card. It's completely blue. It's very popping, I guess, you know, even though it is monochromatic, it definitely still pops out at you. And when you combine the IRs of Squirtle and Wartortle with this Blastoise, it makes some really nice artwork. So 1 year ago, or not a year ago, but as early as we have data for September 11th, $41.82, and then this card also rises up in price. $56.62 is its high on October 2nd. And then, yeah, over here, probably over here, on April 22nd would be its low at $40.95. And it looks like it's continuing to slowly climb upwards, as right now it's $47.53. Number 13 on this list is Morty's Conviction from Temporal Forces. It's an SIR, and I believe it's the first trainer SIR that we've seen. And I think it's so popular because it features Gengar pretty prevalently. Gengar is definitely a big mark on this card, and it's a really nice card to begin with. I mean, you have Morty here hanging out at what looks like to be a cafe with his Gengar poking out of the ground there. It's a very nice artwork, very nice card, and I think because Gengar is featured in it, that's why it's so popular. But March 15th, $44.95. Looks like it's low April 5th, $38.60. It's high April 14th, $90.08, and it looks like it might be slowly climbing up, as right now it's priced at $47. Then for number 12, we have Walking Wake EX from, again, Temporal Forces. So we have the Suicune Paradox Pokemon here, Walking Wake. Definitely not as bad as, again, it's all very subjective, not as bad as the upcoming third legendary dog that you'll see, in my opinion, that they kind of, did a little dirty. But with Walking Wake here, fantastic artwork though. I mean, the colors, the use of cool colors is very, very nice. You have Walking Wake here on what looks like to be a branch, and underneath looks like to be a valley / canyon with full of either shrubbery or some cold looking either ice or snow, something like that. It's a little hard to make out exactly what's going on, but it's very nice artwork, very nice colors. 3 months ago, so March 19th, $47.99. Does drop down March 21st, $39.84. Jumps up March 24th to its high, $58.10. Ultimately trends downward May 8th, $37.64, and its current price, where it looks like it's going to stagnate around, is $47.16. And then 11th on this list is the Charizard EX SIR from Obsidian Flames. This card probably have the biggest fall from grace if you look at its data. It is really decent artwork. It's very almost sketched looking. Looks like it was sketched out almost with kind of like pencil crayons or something, is the kind of artwork that it looks like. But ultimately it did have a pretty big fall in its value. I mean, July 24th, $225.99, and then look at that, literally the next week, July 31st, $103.66, and it's just kind of continued to drop downwards. I mean, it looks like its low is probably here on April 1st at $42.59, but it looks like it's stagnating now at around $47.40. Then for number 10, we have the Gardevoir EX from Paldean Fates. This is the SIR card. It's a beautiful card. I think I just really like when blue really pops on these Pokemon cards. Maybe it's just because I like the color blue, if I had to guess, but it is really nice artwork. You have shiny Gardevoir here, kind of dancing in this mystical pond slash, you know, doing some meditative moves here with Wooper in the background. It's really nice artwork. But let's go as far back as 6 months. January 15th, $66.57. Its high shortly thereafter, January 22nd, $68.61. Does drop down ultimately, where it hits its low May 13th, $46.62. And it looks like it's stagnating at around the $50 mark for $49.90. The 9th most valuable card on this list is the Groudon from Paradox Rift. This is yet again another IR, another illustration rare. You have Groudon here standing over this pretty awesome artwork. Actually, it's pretty epic. You have this these erupting volcanoes in the background with magma and lava flowing all over the place, meeting the water tide here. I'm assuming that this might be a little play on to Groudon's rivalry with Kyogre. It'd be really awesome if we could see almost like a mirrored slash second part over here of, say, what Kyogre's perspective could look like if there's a future set where we see a Kyogre IR. But essentially, October 16th, $22.54, jumps up October 23rd, $40.67, does trend downwards, and it looks like technically its low would have been October 16th, but yeah, also March 18th, 22.40, what was that, 22.42, and then does travel upwards to $60.52, and it looks like it's going to stagnate here at around the $60 mark for $59.39. All right, coming up next, we have the Roaring Moon EX SIR from Paradox Rift. So here you have Roaring Moon flapping its wings or doing a big old scream, something like that, probably both, to really mess with these Scream Tails, and then this Fungus, I believe, is that Pokemon there, whatever the Paradox version of it, or it is just Fungus, but Mischievous over here just kind of terrorizing the local Pokemon of what's probably the ground zero area here. But October 9th, $74.99, jumps up to its high October 30th, $114.61. Its low was pretty recently on May 13th at $52.43, and it looks like it's currently stagnating around the $70 mark at $70.41. The 7th most valuable card on this list goes to Iron Crown EX from Temporal Forces. This is the SIR. It's probably my favorite pull from the set if I had to pick one. I think it's some fantastic artwork. It's the Paradox version of Cobalion, I believe, Cobalion, however you want to call it. But yeah, I mean, just the colors, again, I think it's just the use of the negative space with the colors, and then the center of focus being on Iron Crown over here. I think it's just fantastic. I would love to pull this card. If I have to buy it, I will, but I think pulling it would be even better. So here, March 9th, $48.99, and then it does trend upwards to its high March 24th, $99.13, trends downward ultimately May 23rd, $56.98, but begins to go up, and we'll see it. Maybe it will continue to increase, as right now it's $73.26. The 6th most valuable card for this list is the Iono from Paldea Evolved, another SIR, but another trainer card. So we have the Iono here, just amongst all of her dishes and her fun, I guess, I guess it's food, right? Is that what she's surrounded by? I think it is food. I think in the game she's supposed to be an influencer of sorts, so very interesting. But Yeah, I mean, it is really nice artwork, and I remember this card was all the rage for Paldea Evolved. It still is, but who knows, it might get surpassed. But right now, or sorry, 1 year ago, $130.92 was its high, and then ultimately trended downwards to its low, which was on March 4th, $73.05, and it's currently priced at $79.37, and it looks like it might stagnate at around here. Alright, the number 5 most valuable card is the Mew EX from Paldean Fates. This is the SIR, and look at this artwork. It's very like coloring book-esque, if that makes sense. Just very sharp black lines, very simple colors, not a lot of shading. But I think that adds to the charm of this card for sure. It's very unique in the sense that you don't really see artwork like this very often. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it's really cool and unique. So January 15th, $92.55. January 22nd jumps up to $133.96, but does trend downwards, where it looks like its low was February 26th at $75.21, and it's currently priced at around $85.27, and it'll probably stay around there. It could fluctuate by going up or down, probably by a little bit. Number 4 on this list, we have Raging Bolt EX from Temporal Forces. This is the SIR, and man, they I don't know, it's subjective. Again, you could like Raging Bolt, and that's totally cool. I just don't like what they did with with Raikou here, just making it kind of like a giraffe, elongating the neck, adding that purple kind of cloud over it. I don't know, not my favorite, but it is what it is. Maybe I'll get used to it. The artwork is really nice though. Just the center of focus here with the leading lines coming in from the canyon walls. Then you have this purple kind of lightning storm atop it. You have a foreground here with the foliage kind of blurred out. It is really nice artwork, so I'll give the card that. March 12th, $54.88, jumps up March 24th, $79.52. Its low is on May 8th at $50.54, does jump up to its high May 26th, $104.79, but it does look like it's on its way down, as right now it's priced at $98.30. The number 3 most valuable card on this list is the Magikarp IR from Paldea Evolved. Pretty cool. It's an illustration rare in the top 3. So here we have the Magikarp, very reminiscent in my opinion of the Giratina V alternate art from Lost Origin, where it's just extremely chaotic artwork. The colors, the shading, the negative space, the positive space, it's all very similar in my opinion. But yeah, except instead of Giratina, you have Magikarp, and it is really, it's just very pretty artwork. There's nothing really more to be said about that. And yeah, I think Paldea Evolved has pretty tough pull rates, so I think this card is pretty tricky to get if you wanted to pull it organically. So 1 year ago had a value of $78.08. Its low shortly thereafter, July 3rd, $44.28. And then through some bumps in the road, it does ultimately trend upwards, and then March 11th, $67.72. It spikes up pretty much right after that to April 1st, $105.23, and it looks like it might even still be trending upwards, as it's currently valued at $112.82. The second most valuable card from the Scarlet and Violet series is the Charizard EX SIR from Paldean Fates. This is the shiny terastallized Charizard. It has very identical looking style of artwork to the Obsidian Flames one, but in my opinion, this one is just, it's better. I think the colors are fantastic. I think they nailed kind of the darker kind of, dark purples, blacks, grays, charcoals, magentas, pinks, purples of Charizard, and then you have this kind of white, lighter background behind it that really just emphasizes and makes Charizard pop. It's really nice artwork actually. So January 15th, $162.29. January 22nd, $184.14. Does ultimately drop downwards. March 25th, $103.64, and it looks like it's currently valued at $109.80, and it'll probably stay there for a little bit if I had to guess, and then I think from there it could trend upwards. It is a really big set, so it's pretty hard to master, and I think most of the time people will either just buy the card outright or try to pull it. So, and number 1 on the list, which we probably all expected, is the Charizard EX SIR from Pokemon 151. Some simple yet fantastic artwork. It's very cartoon-like. I know that sounds really funny to say, but just in the sense that, you kind of have very blocky shapes and imagery in here. Like, look at these clouds, very blocky, not a lot of depth and dimension to them. Same with the background of the canyons and then the volcano, but I think that really adds to its charm. And then we have Charizard here flying away in the distance. If you were to put all three of the IRs and SIRs together, it reveals actually a really nice and neat story. Same thing with all of the Gen 3 starters for 151. So I think that's where this card really shines. 1 year ago had a value of $97.11. Sorry, not 1 year ago, but September 11th. Then shortly thereafter, it does jump up September 18th, $132.72. Its high is on November 13th at $134.98. Then it does lower down a little bit. Its low is definitely there on September 11th, but its current value goes for $113.59, and it's probably going to stay around that mark for quite some time, at least till we see either if 151 gets a reprint or if it kind of stays in the same supply range that it already is. So that concludes the list of the 20 most valuable cards from the Scarlet and Violet era. As you can see, they're all IRs and SRs, which is pretty suspected, but it is cool to see that right now there are even illustration rares on this list, because pretty much if you look at Sword and Shield, it's all it's all alternate arts that are the most valuable cards. Whereas here, so far, we have IRs and SIRs. So it's pretty nice to see that mix. Nothing really super outrageously expensive yet. We're still waiting for our Evolving Skies of 151 to really launch things off, and I think it is shortly coming. We'll see. Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty cool to see all of these cards and where they've come from, where their prices are now. Nothing really surprises me that much with these prices, but I'd love to know your thoughts on these cards down below. What do you think of the prices? I'd love to know all, and I'll catch you in the next one.